This episode truly shows me how evil Omni-Man is. I think like
Mhm.
rewatching this season, knowing like what happens at the end of season one and at the end of season two and like the beginning of season two, like just knowing all the context, it just like makes me feel a certain way when I see Omni-Man do certain things or say certain things.
Yeah.
Um, But I don't know. Yeah, that's like my overall takeaway from this episode is he is just like a truly evil man. And so I think upon this rewatch, I just dislike Omni-Man more and more.
Yeah, he's definitely a little seedy. Um, but like I think after season two kind of explored his character a lot more. Um, I don't know. He is he's definitely the bad guy of season one though. So um I
Yeah.
agree that like rewatching, I don't know, he just seems even more, I think knowing the full context of everything, like he's just very good at kind of twisting his words.
Yeah. Well, and
Which
like the scene that gets me the most is the very beginning scene of the funeral. So,
the very beginning scene.
yeah, because
Oh,
we
who's talking about them? The
yeah,
eulogy?
and
Yeah.
And it's one thing to be talking about the Guardians of the Globe and like their death and like how much he misses them in front of America. Like that's one thing. But it's another thing when he's talking about them like in front of their families.
Hmm.
Like that is much worse to me than when he's like giving a speech in front of like all of America to see. Like that's whatever. Politicians do that all the time. Um,
Right.
but like to just like lie in front of their families and like act like they were friends or not like kind of friends. I mean, he corrects Debbie at one point and says they were coworkers, but I don't know. It's truly like an evil thing to
It
do.
is. Yeah.
Did not vibe with Omni-Man's vibes this episode. He's a
Yeah,
good
he's
villain.
yeah. It's definitely pretty um it's just kind of effed up, yeah, to deliver that speech at the Guardian's funeral.
Well, and then
Um
like when he's giving his big speech, he's like he immediately like makes it about himself. Because he's like, "Who will save us? I will." And then there's a long pause. And
yeah.
others. I'm like, "Shut up, Omni-Man."
Yeah. But I guess like that is kind of his idea. Um, no guardians, so Earth is maybe more vulnerable, I guess.
Mhm.
Viltrumics kind of swoop in. Definitely just a lot of added uh like texture to each scene on the rewatch, like having
Yeah.
seen two full seasons now. Especially how just Nolan kind of navigates conversations, and what he reveals and doesn't reveal.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. I mean, I feel like maybe we should wait to talk about all the Mark and Amber and Eve stuff.
Mhm.
Why don't we talk about the new Guardians of the Globe? Because that's a big kind of subject of this
Yeah,
episode.
I feel like that's like the most, like the biggest thing that goes on in this episode. It happens so fast. I like, again, like we've said it before, but everything is coming so much sooner than I remember it to come. But it makes sense that they like want to form a new Guardians really fast.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought it was really interesting when Cecil approaches Robot and he's like, "You're gonna be the leader of the new Guardians of the Globe." And Robot's like, "Why isn't it Omni-Man?" And like Cecil explains. Omni-Man's like dislike for the
Mm.
Guardians of the Globe, but I just think like there's so many red flags being raised in like everyone's faces. They just like aren't putting the puzzle pieces together. But watching all the new Guardians like train and like do their like audition is cool.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Robot is he's selected, I guess because he's well, why wouldn't it be like Black Samson?
Well, I think like they do have that discussion a little later on.
I think they do, right?
Yeah, I think in episode either this episode or episode 4, they talk about how like Black Samson's kind of the leader in a way, but like
Mhm.
I think Robot's more so like not their teacher, but they're like, okay, we're gonna train you guys. Like this is how we're gonna
Yeah.
train, and like he'll like make up like the game plans for their battles
Mm.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So I
Kind of
don't.
like a strategist, I suppose.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess Cecil probably likes him because he's, you know, he thinks he's just this robot. So he's not affected by like human temptations or emotions in the same way. Until obviously we'll see what happens. But um I guess he's a little bit more logical, which he kind of is.
Yeah, and I think he does like prove himself to be a good leader in the way that like he thinks really fast on his feet and like he knows how to like handle these teenagers and
Mm.
like a couple of adults. But yeah. What what was like your favorite training, not training, I keep calling it that, like your favorite audition moment?
Oh, I mean, I feel like uh the Monster Girl versus Rex fight is like kind of the big one from that whole section, but I don't know. I like when Adam Eve beats that like big buff dude.
Yeah.
Um, who like I'm curious what the people who didn't get selected for the team, like I just want to know what we were looking at. Like Duplicate got selected over quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Um, and she's just like, just 10 normal girls that fight at once.
I
That
think
shirtless buff guy was pretty big.
yeah. I- he didn't think. He wasn't a thinker. I think
Yeah.
Duplicate's a thinker.
He didn't
We're gonna be
demonstrate the
we're gonna be
qualities.
branded as like a woman of Invincible hater podcast.
Yeah, I only like Adam Eve, I suppose.
Hey, Debbie's cool.
Yeah, no, yeah, Debbie's awesome. Debbie and Eve.
Yeah.
But Duplicate, she's all right.